the date on which her father was supposed to have signed the bond as surety, for he was the 2nd October, but her father had died 4 days earlier on the 29th of September. This is very important. Now, when she went to borrow the money from the bank, there were some papers to sign, and she told him that she's going to send these papers to her father to sign, this bond to her father to sign, and she brought that bond to him, signed already. But Krogstad was very cunning. He discovered that these papers, that bond was signed, had the signature of her father on the 2nd of October, while her father already died in September. Of course, we know that we have August, we have September, and we have October. Okay? So now her father died on the 2nd of October. So her father died on the 29th of September, but the papers, the bond was signed on the 2nd of October, which means that this bond was signed after his death, and it cannot happen like this. No one came back to life to sign papers and dying again. So he discovered that this bond was not signed by her father, but it was signed by Noura herself. And of course, this is a kind of forgery, right? But her father had died 4 days earlier on the 29th September. How could a dead man, this is very important, how could a dead man have signed the document? How could a dead man have signed the document? Asks Krogstad. He then says that the obvious explanation of this disparity is that she herself had signed for her father. Noura admits that she had signed for her father. Krogstad tells her that in signing for her father, she had been guilty of forgery, which is a criminal act. Noura says that her father had been seriously ill at the time, and that she had not thought it proper to send the document to him for his signature. Asked Krogstad had demanded a surety for the loan, and she had herself signed for her father, as we said. Krogstad says that she had been guilty of fraud. Noura says that she had badly needed the money because her husband was critically ill, as we said, at the time, and had to be taken away to a warm climate. Krogstad says that she does not seem to realize the gravity of her offense. He then tells her that he himself had been guilty at one time of an act of forgery, and that he had suffered heavily for having been guilty of it. He then goes on to say that in the eyes of the law, forgery is a serious crime. Noura says that no law can be so unjust as to ignore the motives and circumstances behind the criminal act. If her intention in forging her father's signature had been to save her husband's life with the money that she wanted as a loan, no law can punish her. Krogstad says that the law takes no account of motives. So law does not pay any attention to motives, and that a crime remains a crime no matter what the motive behind it. So a crime remains a crime no matter the motive behind it. A crime remains a crime no matter what the motive behind it. Krogstad then says that the choice is hers to make. Either, so look, he is threatening here. Either she should prevail upon her husband to let him retain his post in the bank, or he would make a public disclosure of her crime of forgery. Krogstad then goes away. Nora, of course, she was mentally disturbed because of that threat, and Nora is now feeling much disturbed mentally. When her children come again to play with her, she sends them away because she is feeling very upset on account of the threat which Krogstad has given her. She tries to get busy with the Christmas tree which she has yet to decorate for the evening celebration. But Krogstad's threat keeps coming to her mind and making her feel uneasy. Okay, now with this we come to the end of giving a brief summary of Act 1 of this play. Thank you very much for being with me. I hope you found it quite easy. Inshallah, in the coming lectures, in Lecture 5, we are going to continue having a look at this interesting play, knowing more details about the characters, knowing more details about the events of the play, and see what's going to happen to poor Nora. Thank you very much for being with me in this lecture, and inshallah see you soon in lecture number 5. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.